was great. I love being part of ZYZZYVA's first all-poetry reading. It's great to be reading also with fellow poetry all-stars, point guard Robin Ekiss.
I'd be so bad at that.
Au contraire. Power forward Matthew Dickman. It's great to be here. So, Valentine's Day is around the corner. I'm going full-on for love poems. Deal with it. I'm going to try not to bore you with tedious introductions of said love poems. So the first poem I'm going to read is forthcoming in the fall issue, yes. Right? Mm-hmm. I have 4 poems coming out in the fall issue of ZYZZYVA, which I'm very excited about. I love ZYZZYVA, by the way, and I echo everything that's been said about Oscar and Laura's transformation of the magazine. It's really great. So this poem is called Apocryphal Self-Portrait. And it continues, actually, a self-portrait poem I published in the Blue one. And it has an epigraph, and those of you who live in the city, feel free to repeat the epigraph with me. You ready? The coldest winter I ever saw was the summer I spent in the sunset. That's right. Apocryphal self-portrait. The darkest night of my life was that morning in my car. My heart would not stop raining. You said it was climate change. I may not be able to prove you wrong, but that doesn't mean the end is near. The end is always near. I read somewhere that the sum of the earth's water will never change. Nothing is taken away, nothing added. Every drop is the same age. Every age died in the same drop. The cut-up clouds, stretched and strung out, have had about enough. Each day is a boat on a lake we row ourselves into. We try to pick at the scab of sunlight itching overhead, but we can't take our eye off the little crack in the hull we know keeps growing. The Buddha says, every place we've been, we stay. Right now, he's in my dream, sitting alone at an empty table, my tiny chair about to collapse beneath him. Mark Twain walks in the room, looking exactly like Colonel Sanders. In one hand, he cradles a bucket of chicken. In the other, he carries an axe. The heaviest weight is the lightness of the soul, he says to the Buddha. Give in to the dark, the Buddha replies, and you won't feel the darkness. The longest drive we ever took was that evening we parked next to the cliff. The sidereal dashboard, the cracked windshield of the body. I want you to know that it is never the darkest right before the dawn. I want you to know the truth about everything. I want you to know that when those memories drop down, my umbrella opens. Love poem number 2 is from my book, Works and Days, and as some of you have seen or can see, it's a poem with a lot of blanks in it. Right. So it's like a Mad Lib poem, and you get to fill in the blank. Oscar fills in this poem with dirty words.
I do that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. So it's in 4 parts, and it's called A Genealogy of Unfinished Love Poems. And, you know, they're blanks because it's unfinished. Right. And I'll indicate the blank by, you know, saying blank. A Genealogy of Unfinished Love Poems. Elegy. I don't know what the dead blank about love. If, for instance, they remember it the way an amputee recalls a missing blank. A necessary part of the body found only in a memory of blank, slick in water, hot over flame, delicate on thigh and mouth. Or if the blank is just sorrow. Comedy. Your eyes are so blank. There is no way they can be glass, though the left one is always a bit off-center. I wonder if your body is already on the lookout for the first blank of my ear hair. Your feet are so blank. I don't care that they're webbed. You're my duck. My beautiful little duck. I can't imagine the ways I want to make you quack. And then there is your blank. Blank. I really like it. In fact, I wish I could carry it around in my knapsack. I'd blank it the way an archaeologist handles a sacred vase, the way a cop grabs the most dangerous felon. I'd handcuff it to my belt loop. I'd wear it like it was too loaded. Blank. Haiku. With the blank union, even holy men forget it is God, they blank. Epistolary. Dear blank. I want to blank for lying to you about that home ec teacher. She meant nothing to me. And I need to complain about the trapeze artist, the pool boy, your blank. What was I thinking? I hope you realize that I have forgiven you for pushing me into the blank of that classic scholar. She's ancient history. That's a little joke. But I'm not joking about how blank I feel. Your cousin Sophie, really, my mistake. And about the palm reader, all she did was blank my hand, honest. But when she traced the creases, the narrow blank on the map of the future world, she made me think. I want to know you the way she knows these lines. I want you to blank me the way she knows how to lie.
Right.
And this very sophisticatedly titled poem from the Blues ZYZZYVA. It's entitled 4 stanzas, 5 lines, no punctuation. And so in this poem, there are 4 stanzas. Each of them have 5 lines. And there's no punctuation. In each stanza of this poem, there are 5 lines. One for the first time I put my finger on your bottom lip. One for the night you slept next to me for 8 straight hours. Another for the next life in which you'll kill me. One more for sorrow's tiny knot you may one day untie. And one last one for that slice of sky, the heavy leaf, the cupped hand, the opened lip, in and into which we fall without belt or net. And I'll close with perhaps a slightly more unconventional love poem. So there are a series of poems in my book about Frog and Toad. You guys all know Frog and Toad? Lovable children's book characters. And, you know, Frog and Toad love each other. If you don't know Frog and Toad, you don't know Frog and Toad? What the fuck? We're all old. We know Frog and Toad. So these were series of books that came out in the 70s by Arnold Lobel. And Frog and Toad, I describe them as the amphibian versions of Bert and Ernie. You think that's about right? Yeah, right? There's a jocular, more good-natured one. That would be Frog. And then a crotchety one, that's Toad. But unlike Bert and Ernie, they do not sleep in the same room. They have separate houses. They have their own lives. And I just read that Scholastic book ranked the greatest children's books of all time, and Frog and Toad Are Friends was number 10. If you have not read Frog and Toad Are Friends, it's just great. So my Frog and Toad poems, you know, I always worry that the Lobel estate is going to come after me with a team of lawyers, because, I don't know. There's a couple of poems in which they do things they wouldn't do in a children's book. In this one, though, This is called Frog and Toad Confront the Alterity of Otherness. I want to thank Laura and Oscar and Peter and everyone at City Lights, and of course Matthew and Robin. This is a real treat for me. Go poetry. Support your local independent bookstore, by the way. Frog and Toad confront the alterity of otherness. The sun was hot in the sky like a muffin in a bright blue tin. The day was just the day. The wind was nothing more than wind. The leaves were leaves and kept on being leaves. Frog, however, wondered why he was Frog and Toad was Toad. Frog knew who he was, but this strange morning he feared he was the wrong one. His skin felt too clammy, his eyes too bulgy. Even his pajamas seemed that of another creature. Everything was wrong. The trees overhead, the birds in them. Toad, on the other hand, woke up troubled by how different he was from Frog. To him, Frog was wholly unknown and unknowable. The yellow flowers outside his window, the water birds down by the lake that arrived only in winter, the dreams of alligators and snakes that swam through his sleeping, all made more sense to him than this Frog in his threadbare suit and flappy feet. How odd they both wanted to fold into the foreign skin of the familiar, inhabit the frog and toadness of the other. It is Toad who will understand that to love the unknown is to say yes to the ineffability of difference, and Frog shall find himself stunned with the recognition that to love the miasma of mystery is to say yes to sorrow, yes to the presence of absence, yes to the chance that Alethea may never rise out of the pond. Frog makes Toad some toast with strawberry jam. He waddles across the room, sets down the plate, pours Toad a cup of coffee. The sun is hot in the sky, like a scone on a sky blue table. Toad looks over at Frog. Good old Frog, he thinks. That bastard knows I hate toast. Toad spreads the jam like a man might smooth mortar on a brick for which there is no building. Thank you, he says. Thank you, Frog. Thank you.